Howdy, everybody. Happy Sabbath. Welcome to Word Redeux, number 69. That we are studying the Word, of course. That someone might be a little bit late today, but that's okay. Today we are going to continue in the book of Numbers, chapter 19 and chapter 20. Who else is here? Howdy, Lynn. I don't know if anybody else is here yet. If you want to read along, you can go to any of these websites, kingjamesbibleonline.org. You can use the regular King James or the 1611. There is a difference, a big difference. You can go to blueletterbible.org. That is blueletterbible.org. There are multiple translations there and study tools. esword.net. King James Version is free to download, but they have multiple translations. You can go to biblehub.com. They got a ton of tools there and dozens of translations that, if you like to compare side by side, is very interesting. We'll put it that way. And if you like to listen to the audio Bible, you can go to BibleStudyTools.com/audio Bible. They also have a number of tools. For those of you that take Revelation 18:4 seriously, talking about Babylon, come out of her, my people, and be not partaker of her sins, that you be not partaker of her plagues, you can go to c2kreport.com. Sign up for the free classes, and they'll tell you how to do it. What do you mean you can barely hear me? Maybe that's the problem someone else is having. Let's check the audio. That's good. Could be the other audio. Do you still have your earplugs in? Yeah. Okay, not funny, apparently. Output, input. Let's try this. Input. Is that better? Is this better? Why does it keep resetting? That's what I want to know. Can you hear me now? Oh, wet Texan. Better? Did you go shooting this morning? Okay. Anyways, as usual, let's go ahead and pray in. Heavenly Father, thank you very much for bringing us together today and giving us this time to fellowship. And we're just very grateful for that. We know that sometimes we try to step off the path and you try to keep us there. You don't try, you do keep us there. And we would just ask that you get our feet back on the path and stand us up. Let us remember that we are your children through your Son, Jesus the Christ, Yeshua Messiah. And, guide us. Remind us to check with you first in everything we do and to ask for your blessing on everything we do. We ask for you to pour your Spirit out on everybody here now and in the future, that we get the message you need us to have, the understanding you need us to have, to fully turn us into the person that you need us to be as your son or daughter. Thank you, Father. Bless you in Jesus Yeshua's name. Amen. All righty. Now I have to go back to settings again. Hold on a minute. Okay. That's good. All right. Are you ready? Are you ready? Numbers. No, not 19. Where are we? Who made that up? Okay, let's fix some things here. I'm buying as much time as I can. So Numbers 21 and 22, like it says on the description. All right, Numbers 21. Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's go.
Chapter 21. When the Canaanite, the king of Arad, who lived in the Negeb, heard that Israel was coming by the way of Atharim, he fought against Israel and took some of them captive. And Israel vowed a vow to the Lord and said, "If you will indeed give this people into my hand, then I will devote their cities to destruction." And the Lord heeded the voice of Israel and gave over the Canaanites, and they devoted them and their cities to destruction. So the name of the place was called Hormah. From Mount Hor they set out by the way to the Red Sea to go around the land of Edom. And the people became impatient on the way. And the people spoke against God and against Moses. "Why have you brought us up out of Egypt to die in the wilderness? For there is no food and no water, and we loathe this worthless food." Then the Lord sent fiery serpents among the people, and they bit the people so that many people of Israel died. And the people came to Moses and said, "We have sinned, for we have spoken against the Lord and against you. Pray to the Lord that he take away the serpents from us." So Moses prayed for the people, and the Lord said to Moses, "Make a fiery serpent and set it on a pole, and everyone who is bitten, when he sees it, shall live." So Moses made a bronze serpent and set it on a pole, and if a serpent bit anyone, he would look at the bronze serpent and live. And the people of Israel set out and camped in Oboth. And they set out from Oboth and camped at Abarim, in the wilderness that is opposite Moab, toward the sunrise. From there they set out and camped in the valley of Zered. From there they set out and camped on the other side of the Arnon, which is in the wilderness that extends from the border of the Amorites, for the Arnon is the border of Moab, between Moab and the Amorites. Therefore it is said in the book of the wars of the Lord, "Wahab and Suphah, and the valleys of the Arnon, and the slope of the valleys that extends to the seat of Ar, and leans to the border of Moab." And from there they continued to Beer, that is the well of which the Lord said to Moses, "Gather the people together, so that I may give them water." Then Israel sang this song: "Spring up, O well, sing to it, the well that the princes made, that the nobles of the people dug, with the scepter and with their staffs." And from the wilderness they went on to Mattanah, and from Mattanah to Nahaliel, and from Nahaliel to Bamoth, and from Bamoth to the valley lying in the region of Moab, by the top of Pisgah that looks down on the desert. Then Israel sent messengers to Sihon king of the Amorites, saying, "Let me pass through your land. We will not turn aside into field or vineyard. We will not drink the water of a well. We will go by the king's highway until we have passed through your territory." But Sihon would not allow Israel to pass through his territory. He gathered all his people together and went out against Israel to the wilderness, and came to Jahaz and fought against Israel. And Israel defeated him with the edge of the sword, and took possession of his land from the Arnon to the Jabbok, as far as to the Ammonites, for the border of the Ammonites was strong. And Israel took all these cities, and Israel settled in all the cities of the Amorites, in Heshbon, and in all its villages. For Heshbon was the city of Sihon, the king of the Amorites, who had fought against the former king of Moab, and taken all his land out of his hand, as far as the Arnon. Therefore the ballad singers say, "Come to Heshbon, let it be built. Let the city of Sihon be established. For fire came out from Heshbon, flame from the city of Sihon. It devoured Ar of Moab, and swallowed the heights of the Arnon. Woe to you, O Moab! You are undone, O people of Chemosh. He has made his sons fugitives, and his daughters captives, to an Amorite king, Sihon. So we overthrew them. Heshbon as far as Dibon perished, and we laid waste as far as Nophah. Fire spread as far as Medeba." Thus Israel lived in the land of the Amorites, and Moses sent to spy out Jazer, and they captured its villages and dispossessed the Amorites who were there. Then they turned and went up by the way to Bashan. And Og the king of Bashan came out against them, he and all his people, to battle at Edrei. But the Lord said to Moses, "Do not fear him, for I have given him into your hand, and all his people and his land. And you shall do to him as you did to Sihon king of the Amorites, who lived at Heshbon." So they defeated him and his sons and all his people, until he had no survivor left, and they possessed his land. Chapter 22. Then the people of Israel set out and camped in the plains of Moab, beyond the Jordan at Jericho. And Balak the son of Zippor saw all that Israel had done to the Amorites. And Moab was in great dread of the people, because they were many. Moab was overcome with fear of the people of Israel. And Moab said to the elders of Midian, "This horde will now lick up all that is around us, as the ox licks up the grass of the field." So Balak the son of Zippor, who was king of Moab at that time, sent messengers to Balaam the son of Beor at Pethor, which is near the river in the land of the people of Ammah, to call him, saying, "Behold, a people has come out of Egypt. They cover the face of the earth, and they are dwelling opposite me. Come now, curse this people for me, since they are too mighty for me. Perhaps I shall be able to defeat them and drive them from the land, for I know that he whom you bless is blessed, and he whom you curse is cursed." So the elders of Moab and the elders of Midian departed with the fees for divination in their hand. And they came to Balaam and gave him Balak's message. And he said to them, "Lodge here tonight, and I will bring back word to you as the Lord speaks to me." So the princes of Moab stayed with Balaam. And God came to Balaam and said, "Who are these men with you?" And Balaam said to God, "Balak the son of Zippor, king of Moab, has sent to me, saying, Behold, a people has come out of Egypt, and it covers the face of the earth. Now come, curse them for me. Perhaps I shall be able to fight against them and drive them out." God said to Balaam, "You shall not go with them. You shall not curse the people, for they are blessed." So Balaam rose in the morning and said to the princes of Balak, "Go to your own land, for the Lord has refused to let me go with you." So the princes of Moab rose and went to Balak and said, "Balaam refuses to come with us." Once again Balak sent princes, more in number and more honorable than these. And they came to Balaam and said to him, "Thus says Balak the son of Zippor, Let nothing hinder you from coming to me, for I will surely do you great honor, and whatever you say to me I will do. Come, curse this people for me." But Balaam answered and said to the servants of Balak, "Though Balak were to give me his house full of silver and gold, I could not go beyond the command of the Lord my God to do less or more. So you too, please stay here tonight, that I may know what more the Lord will say to me." And God came to Balaam at night and said to him, "If the men have come to call you, rise, go with them, but only do what I tell you." So Balaam rose in the morning and saddled his donkey and went with the princes of Moab. But God's anger was kindled because he went, and the angel of the Lord took his stand in the way as his adversary. Now he was riding on the donkey, and his two servants were with him. And the donkey saw the angel of the Lord standing in the road, with a drawn sword in his hand. And the donkey turned aside out of the road and went into the field. And Balaam struck the donkey to turn her into the road. Then the angel of the Lord stood in a narrow path between the vineyards, with a wall on either side. And when the donkey saw the angel of the Lord, she pushed against the wall and pressed Balaam's foot against the wall. So he struck her again. Then the angel of the Lord went ahead and stood in a narrow place, where there was no way to turn either to the right or to the left. When the donkey saw the angel of the Lord, she lay down under Balaam. And Balaam's anger was kindled, and he struck the donkey with his staff. Then the Lord opened the mouth of the donkey, and she said to Balaam, "What have I done to you, that you have struck me these 3 times?" And Balaam said to the donkey, "Because you have made a fool of me. I wish I had a sword in my hand, for then I would kill you." And the donkey said to Balaam, "Am I not your donkey, on which you have ridden all your life long to this day? Is it my habit to treat you this way?" And he said, "No." Then the Lord opened the eyes of Balaam, and he saw the angel of the Lord standing in the way, with his drawn sword in his hand. And he bowed down and fell on his face. And the angel of the Lord said to him, "Why have you struck your donkey these 3 times? Behold, I have come out to oppose you, because your way is perverse before me. The donkey saw me and turned aside before me these 3 times. If she had not turned aside from me, surely just now I would have killed you and let her live." Then Balaam said to the angel of the Lord, "I have sinned, for I did not know that you stood in the road against me. Now therefore, if it is evil in your sight, I will turn back." And the angel of the Lord said to Balaam, Go with the men, but speak only the word that I tell you." So Balaam went on with the princes of Balak. When Balak heard that Balaam had come, he went out to meet him at the city of Moab, on the border formed by the Arnon, at the extremity of the border. And Balak said to Balaam, "Did I not send to you to call you? Why did you not come to me? Am I not able to honor you?" Balaam said to Balak, "Behold, I have come to you. Have I now any power of my own to speak anything? The word that God puts in my mouth, that must I speak." Then Balaam went with Balak, and they came to Kiriath Huzoth. And Balak sacrificed oxen and sheep, and sent for Balaam and for the princes who were with him. And in the morning Balak took Balaam, and brought him up to Bamoth Baal. And from there he saw a fraction of the people.
All right. Excuse me. Whoa, where'd you come from? What's happening, Matt?
Not much. Oh, you got the echo thing.
Not anymore. There we go. Yep. That's kind of what it sounds like, April. But that's the next chapter. Let's go back to 21. Basically, this is kind of most of it is a documenting of all the nations they're defeating. Do you have anything jump out at you, Matt?
Yeah, this was a good one. There's a lot of similarities, I think, like the serpent on this, up on the pole.
Right.
It's like a shadow picture of Christ.
It is, in that it's interesting because the words are different. Because the Lord tells Moses to make him a fiery serpent, which is Hebrew 8314, burning, poisonous, a seraph, like a seraphim is the plural. In that, but then Moses makes a serpent, Hebrew 5175, instead of the 8314. And the 5175 is a snake, Nakash. That's the serpent from the Garden of Eden. So, what's up, Moses? Why are you doing that?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yes, it is.
It was on a pole, not a cross.
Yep. Yeah. And that's interesting too, because instead of because the seraphim look quite a bit different. That they look kind of like a six-legged octopus sort of thing. Like, let's see, let me find a gooder picture. That, no, I don't think that one. That, like this. Ha! There we go. Something more like that, right? The creatures with the eyes all over. And the fieriness. Okay. Let's see. They got some that look more flaming than that.
Looks like an Indian headdress.
Almost. A lot of these are from video games.
Yeah.
Because, it was mentioned and it's cool. There we go. That one. Pretty interesting, though. Anyways, that. But Moses puts a snake on a pole and what we would call a snake. So it's interesting there's two different words. And then notice, too, did we cover that in this? That, we'll find out about it later on, where Israel kind of turns the brass serpent on the pole into an idol. So it gets destroyed. Do you think there's some type of correlation there between like the way people use crucifixes?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I remember partaking in a religion. I remember partaking in a religion where it wasn't headquartered in Rome, but still, whenever you entered the chapel, you had to kneel before that crucifix, right? Crucifix being difference between a crucifix and a cross being that cross is just a cross, and a crucifix has an image of someone being crucified on it.
Still an image either way.
What?
Cross or a crucifix.
So now you're following Muhammad? Okay. So, yes, I know.
It makes me think of that. It says don't make anything in place of God. Nothing on, not an animal, not a stick, nothing, because it's replacing him. You're putting an image on him. So you think about the cross, and there's a lot of, you can really study where the cross even came from, and I don't think it's kind of pagan.
Right. Yeah. No, I'm leaning more and more. The older I get, I'm leaning more and more towards it wasn't actually a tree. And I guess there are some historical accounts that the Romans used to use, like get big, massive trees, and then they would just make a spot on the tree where you could hang the crossbar that they were spread out on and nailed to, and then they would nail their foot to a block on the tree. That must be a lot of crucifixes there. On her wall, it looks like she's gearing up for the vampire apocalypse. So the bronze serpent's pretty weird. So then they sing a song. What do they sing? The song about the well. Because they got some water. So then they defeat Sihon, and then they defeat Og. And it doesn't say it here, but he's a giant. And what were you saying?
What?
Oh, I thought you said something. Don't be shy. Spit it out. That. Yep. So they killed Og and his sons and all the people until there was none left him alive. That's how it says it in King James. And they possessed his land. Okay. Let's go to 22, shall we? Excuse me. So this starts the whole thing with the deal of Balaam, and kind of stops mid-story, but we do get the full story of him and his donkey. You know, a couple of donkeys. What do you think of that, man?
Yeah. I found it interesting that it turned aside 3 times. Turned aside from him 3 times, kind of like Peter.
That is interesting. So you're likening Peter to a donkey.
What's crazy to me is, okay, so he allowed the donkey to speak, and, it doesn't say that he's like, whoa, why are you speaking? You know, you'd think he'd be a little shocked,
Right.
but instead it just goes right into dialogue, you know.
Yeah, and that I think about that too. And you ever hear that old saying? Old people used to say it, that I'm so mad I can't see straight. That's what it reminds me of. He's just so angry at this donkey that when it starts talking to him, he doesn't even realize that it's speaking to him, because it says, "Oh, what is it?" It said that the Lord opened the donkey's mouth, but then he opens the eyes of Balaam so he can see the angel of the Lord standing there. That's a good question, April. Did the donkey stay chatty afterwards? Because we're not told that God took the power of speech away from the donkey. I never thought about that before. And then decades later, the donkey's sitting there. And then I turned aside a third time. Did he listen to me? No. Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe she could, but chose not to. Oops. There we go. Maybe. I don't know. What would you do if your dog started talking to you? Hey, come on. I've been chasing these cows off. Okay. So, and then April was asking, go ahead. Or am I talking to my echo?
I think you're talking to your echo.
Okay. That April was asking earlier. Second time, in the dream, it says, God came unto Balaam at night and said unto him, if the men come to call thee, rise up, go with them. But yet the word which I shall say unto thee, thou shalt do. So I can see that. It does seem a bit contradictory. Because then, after he tells him to rise up, he's going to go kill him. And that, I have no answer for it. You got echo cancellation on? Echo.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess it's one of those things. So then also too, after the donkey rebukes him and the Lord opens his eyes, Yahovah, remember where it says capital Lord. He says, why have you smitten your ass these 3 times? He says, your way is perverse before me, right? I went out to withstand you. He said, and the donkey, the ass saw me and turned from me these 3 times. Unless she had turned from me, surely now also I had slain thee. So I was going to kill you and saved her life. Interesting. There's a lot of people that think that the angel of the Lord in the Old Testament is Jesus, Yeshua. Yep, and that is grace and mercy too, because And it's all throughout the Old Testament. People say, we didn't have grace and mercy until Jesus hung on the cross. I mean, it's filled with grace and mercy. Adam and Eve were supposed to die the very day that they took the fruit. David did huge amounts that he probably could have been executed for. That Moses could have been killed for disobedience when he struck the rock, when he was supposed to just speak to it. That was recent that we read about. But if you're not looking for it, you're not going to see it, I guess. All right. What else you got in here, Matt?
That about sums her up.
Yep. And what a cliffhanger, too. Because 23, we see why Balaam is kind of a curse word from here on out. So that, anybody else got anything for Numbers 21 or 22? Yep, that's right. The Father doesn't want anyone to perish, but all to come to repentance. Yep. That is truth. My goodness, can you hear those power tools? I don't know what they're doing. Okay, I think that's it for today. Well, thanks for coming, Matt. Thanks, everybody. We'll let you get back to resting. Tune in next time for the cliffhanger. What does Balaam do? That's pretty much it. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Ring the little bell thingy. And that's pretty much it. You know what? Stay strong. Resist the devil, and he will flee from you. That temptations are tempting, but don't give in. Not even if it's Circle K nachos with pumpable chili. All right. Love you all. Bye.